Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy with the Chris and Sandy Show, where we get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I say on every episode, we got a great one for you. Who do we have?
We have Todd Tilghman with us today. He is most well known as the winner of the 18th season of NBC's The Voice. Todd describes his music as slice of life. He shares real lyrics about real life and faith.
And go Team Blake, right?
Yeah, that's right, man.
Oh, yes.
What do you think about Blake announcing the next season be his last?
Oh man, it's weird because there's a part of me that's like, oh man, and it's true. There's no way it'll be the same without him.
Yep.
But then on the other hand, the tiny taste of this world that I've gotten has taught me that so many people on this side of the screen, we don't really know what all's happening and how hard he's working. And so I'm excited that he's going to get to open up some time to do some other things.
Because remember, it took a few years from the rebrand American Idol after Simon left.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what's going to happen here is they're going to have to find a way because, again, those of us that love country music, we are hooked on Blake and his team.
Yeah. And Blake, it's seriously, it's not a knock against any of the other coaches. Actually the coaches now I've only even met John, I guess, because the other two, I've met Gwen, but she wasn't a coach on The Voice when I met her. But so it's not a knock on them, but Blake does have sort of a way of keeping the like sort of ribbon going and stuff on the show.
Does, yeah.
And so we'll see what happens.
What they should have done. I know that they already made the announcement for that season of the coaches. They should have tried to find a way to get Adam back on. That would have been a cool ending.
It would have been, the banter back and forth there.
I'm here to tell you, I guarantee they did. I'm sure they tried.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So, a lot of people have suffered through this whole pandemic thing last couple of years. It's been rough. And I always like to start there, kind of. So how, and I know you got a little different twist to the story because I heard your story a little bit on this part of it. So tell us a little bit about how all that affected you.
Okay. It's actually fairly common knowledge. Apparently, I didn't know that very early on, so I was very, very particular about what I said and what I didn't say. But The Voice sort of films in segments,
right? Mm-hmm.
And so they'll film the blind audition.
Yeah.
Then you go home. Then you come back and film the battles and knockouts if you make it through to the knockouts. Right. If you don't, you go home. But and then you go home again. Then you fly back and film the live rounds until you get voted off or make the finale.
Yeah.
And so so we went out and did blind auditions. And that went well. So then we left, and I came back and did battles and knockout rounds, and those went really well. For me, they did, And so then when we went back home, they had scheduled us to come back to California, like April. Seemed like it was like seemed like it was like the 15th or 19th. I can't remember. I could dig it up in an email probably, but anyway, so when all of this went down, they I want to say they did a very good job of it. They really did, but they just they called us and we all got on all these Zoom meetings, and then we had to do all these things to figure out if the internet was going to work for everybody and all the things and so
you were probably like, just my luck. The year that I'm on.
Yeah. Here's what I did with that. I'll be honest. This is what I did with it. Even now, almost 3 years later, even now, that still creeps into my mind because I do, honestly, just bare in my soul, I do think that I've faced some challenges and setbacks and things that I would not have faced. Had the world been open when I came off the show as the winner,
That's true.
But but in that moment, it was disappointing. And like I said, even now it still tries to creep back in. But what I always try to do is I try to say to myself, Todd, like no one gets to be on The Voice at all, much less win. It's like a really,
so
really
true.
rare thing to be able to do.
It is.
And so I've just chosen gratitude, you know, because it was tough. It was, and there, you know, all of us, you could tell the I don't know, like the mood of the first, especially the first couple of Zoom meetings. I mean, after a while, you know, after a few, especially once we started filming things, you're working, you're just getting it done, and you don't really have a lot of time. Yeah, and but early on, you could sort of tell the vibe in the room. People were upset, you know, and several people have asked, or did ask at the time, if there was, could we try this, or would we be able to come back for that? And so, and anyway, but it was rough. So we got, you know, they sent us all of the people that made the live shows, all of us, they sent us up. I mean, it didn't seem small at the time, but I'll explain. They sent us like a small sort of shipment of equipment.
Oh, wow.
I didn't mean for that to rhyme, you know. Some lights, cameras, a tablet. And so what they would do is that first week, literally you would get on a Zoom call. You're basically on the same Zoom call on two phones.
Okay.
Well, excuse me, on a phone and on the tablet. And so on the tablet, I'm talking to the production, and then my son had a phone, and he had, you know how on Zoom you have to turn it all the way down, or otherwise, because there's two people in the same room, one of them's going to be echoing.
Oh yes.
So we what I would do is, like, lighting would come on, and I would stand in the spot I'm going to sing, and they would have my son move the light or change the bulb from warm to cool or whatever, you know. And then same with camera, and same with wardrobe and art department. They would all come on and look at us and the surrounding and the lighting, and then audio. Of course, you have to go through all that because you're singing the song. So then over time, though, every week that you made it through to another week, you got more and more stuff from them. and so like by the time I sang I Can Only Imagine in the finale, that finale performance was they had sent us, I mean, one of the guys, you know, you got to understand, I live in Tennessee now, but I'm from deep South Mississippi, you know, and so one of my guys that was there helping when he started Googling, and he said, man, I think they've sent us about $250,000 worth of lights. Wow. You know, I mean, it's insane. And so they talk you through it. And
they tried to make sure that even though you weren't going to be live, that it still worked to the best of its ability.
Right. I think they did a really good job at making it instead. And I think other productions, other shows took it a little more like organic route, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But the voice made it a big deal to sort of make it as much of a production as they could under the circumstances, you know, as far as lighting and all. That's like when I did
You've got a degree in production now, huh?
Oh man, it has helped me so much. Stuff like this, like I've got a light right here. That's why I asked y'all, when I asked you earlier, I'm like, is this light okay? I can put one on either side of me. I've learned all the things, you know. And you know, I've learned how to use the interface, like, because now I sing these covers and put them on my TikTok and Instagram and stuff, and the voice taught me how to use all that equipment, you know.
Wow. Oh wow.
While I was on, so
although it looked bad, it actually became a blessing for you, because again, as an independent artist, it's good to know every aspect of your business.
Yeah, I certainly learned a ton, and this is the thing. I mean, winning The Voice, you really can't complain about that, number one. But then number two, all those things like that, and other things. There was a lot of silver lining to it, so I won't complain.
So, you know, a lot of people would ask, when did you know you wanted to do music? I always like to go deeper than that. When did it click for you that this could become a career?
Honestly, man, it clicked for me on The Voice. I've said that. I said that to the show, and I don't mean to be like, I don't need anybody sending me sympathy cards or feeling sorry for me or anything, you know. but like early on, it's not that I didn't think I could sing.
Yeah.
As much as it was, I didn't think that I could do this. Like people would want to hear it. Like,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
I didn't think there were people want to hire me to do it, you know? And so, on The Voice was the first time I thought, man, maybe there is something more to it, you know? And ever since then, you know, it's, you know, I'm sure we'll talk about this more, but like, I hope the whole world and all of your listeners and everybody, I hope they know, man, I love it. It is so fulfilling, but bro, it's a grind and it's a struggle.
And you know, that's perfect lead in to my next little phase is out, you know, everybody sees the glory, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles it takes to get to any level within entertainment. And I always want to talk about that because, as you know, a lot of people, they don't see that. They don't hear that. So tell us a little bit about the sacrifices and struggles you've had to go through to get to where you are today.
Oh, man. First of all, and probably most importantly, really right now, I write a lot, and so hopefully some of that'll take off soon or one day, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But really right now, almost every dime of my income is from traveling and touring and going out and doing shows. And, you know, and because of my background, I do church services and I'll do shows out in parks and different things. And so, when I say because of my background, because of my present ground, I mean, I'm still a Christian and I still love the Lord and, you know, and all those things.
Amen.
And so, I have to be away from my family a lot. And so I've become a little more strategic about things.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of like a risk reward kind of thing. My manager and I were talking just a few weeks ago and he was like, here's the thing you could go do. And but I was like, it's not that I don't want to do it. I would love to do it, but I'm getting sort of to the place now where I'm being kind of picky about, it's no sense in me going to do certain things if there's not a real, you know, like a real sense that we're going to have some major reward come from that.
Right.
Unless it's work. I mean, because this is my thing. I believe in and love exposure. But the girl at the line at the grocery store don't ask for exposure. She asks for money. You know what I mean? And so
that's so true.
You know, you got to go earn the money to feed the kids. So that's scary.
And you said you had this weekend off. I heard I was watching your video.
It made me bad nervous. It made me bad nervous. I got work this week. It really made me more nervous because in the middle of November, I've already blocked off a full 7 days because it's my anniversary and we spend time together for that.
That's
but
great.
You know, I frankly, you know, I'm always sadly aware of how many months away I am to being broke if we don't book things. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
because some people think, oh, you won The Voice, you got it made, but that's just not the case.
No.
Oh man, listen, I did win and there's a cash prize, but let me say this. I have spent and hopefully not in vain. It still remains to be seen. I have spent so insanely much money trying to get this thing off the ground. You know, it costs an insane amount. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to release a single, even if you did it independently, but you wanted to do a full release, it depends on what market you're in, but it could cost $1 million, you know? And that's, you know, and so it doesn't, we don't do that. I could never. I mean, when I release singles, my people at 1 RPM and they help us. We just get it out there and we do everything we can to
you do with what you have.
No, we don't have anywhere. I mean, the money that I have can't even look through binoculars and see $1 million, you know? But you know, so that kind of stuff. And then, you know, and then there are times where you're getting booked or you're not getting booked. So you have to use that money. That's why I've said, I go live. I try to go live a lot and just chat with people on the different platforms. But one of the things I think for people like me and maybe people that are way bigger than I am, I don't know their circumstance, and that's why I'm say these things. I think public perception works against you because I think people say, "Hey, you won The Voice, or you released a book last year, or you were on the Grand Ole Opry. You must have it made." Everything.
Or you get 100,000 streams on a song. Oh, you're rich now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man, dude, I'm telling you. You know what I say when I go to shows? I always say, I beg people to stream my songs, and I say, listen, every one stream of that song is like one kernel of corn on my kid's plate. It's not a serving of corn, and it's certainly not a whole meal. But if you'll stream it, I might, that's kind of what I like to say to them, because the streams I love it. I'm really passionate, and I'm growing even now. I mean, I'm in my 40s, so I don't got a lot of time to grow because I'll be dead before, but like, I'm even growing more in what I'm trying to do and what I want to do. And I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm here yet, but I'm getting closer to just really embracing that. I'm independent, and if, the chances are I'm going to stay independent, because unless you come out with a killer song, Nashville, I love you, but Nashville don't love all people,
Yeah.
And so I'll
you don't need a label until you get to a point where you can't handle it.
Right. Yeah. And so I'll probably stay independent. So in my independence, I'm starting to embrace that I just do what I want to do. The next release that's coming out, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the release date. I'm working with a team of people, even though it's not a label. It's like, it's a jam. It's a swampy rock and roll jam, but it's a gospel song,
cool.
And so that's the next one that's coming. The one I just released didn't have anything really to do with me, as far as I didn't write it or have any input. They just called me and said, "Would you like to do it?" And I liked the song, and it's in partnership with an Up TV show and some, and so if I'm going to be independent, I might as well do what I want to do,
Because if you didn't have a label, you might not have got the Up TV thing.
Yeah. When you're on a label, they're fine for what they are, but what I always encourage everybody to do, especially people who work in different parts of the world. No, I don't mean geographically. I mean like their job is in another area.
Yeah, sure.
What I always encourage them to do is do some research on how many people get signed versus how many people about, and the discrepancy is
because it's like 600. If I'm not mistaken, I seen somebody post that stat like the other day, and it was like 600 and something per year get signed.
Staggering. Yeah,
but you only hear about like 5,
a handful.
Yeah, because some things work and some things don't. Some people, let's just be honest, the truth is, some people get signed so that they can't put music out to compete with other people on that and that's something we just learned from doing this show. We started it in January 2020, but as we started interviewing people, I had no idea that labels, again, not all labels do this. I don't want no labels to get mad at me, but there are labels they put millions of dollars in this person, and they see you as a threat, will come to you, say, "I'd like to sign you," and you're all excited, not reading the fine print. Well, you think that's the dream.
Yep. And the next thing you know, they shelf you for 2-3 years, and now you can't do what your passion is.
Oh man. Yeah. Look, but I will say this, the music business, labels, they're really not any different than, churches or politics or whatever. There's good people and there's bad people in everything.
Exactly.
Some of them really do have the best intentions and the best heart. Some of them don't, but that's in banking. Whatever, you know what I mean?
Any industry.
And that's why you better have an attorney before you sign something.
Oh, that's right. I do. And a good one.
Love that. Now, as you know, let's go and flip the script and kind of go the other way now. And what are a few outside of The Voice? I know that was a big wow moment for you, but outside of that, what are a few wow moments? I'm sure the Opry was one of them.
Yeah. The Grand Ole Opry was probably not just the Opry, even though that's enough. Let me say that. But the way that all went down that night, and Blake
introducing you,
and even backstage for the first real time. Now we've interacted with one another, and I've seen him once, but it was almost in passing. We were both at the same event, kind of thing. I'm sorry, y'all. I should have. What has made my email not make noise? So I don't know if y'all are
that's okay.
Like silence it. Man, I have my vocabulary today. But the Grand Ole Opry was the very first time since The Voice that I just got to spend time with Blake and just talk to him and catch up with him. And he's Blake is Blake's busy. He's a busy guy. He's got a lot of stuff going on, but he is a very genuine, really good person. And I think what happens is, people watch their TVs and they watch their social media streams and they watch their Twitter feeds and all the things that happen in normal people's lives become giant drama when you're Blake Shelton. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And so I feel a little bit like he don't really get a super fair shake with some people, because he really is. Yeah, he's a good guy. I mean, he's had some issues like the rest of us have, but the difference is the cameras aren't on us. That's one thing I'll say. And
many times something happens in our life or we do something or say something. I'm like, my God, if we were on a reality show, they would have filmed that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I've always said, like, I understand, because you got so many people in the world that say, well, you put yourself in this position. And that's true. Blake did, I did, to whatever degree that I'm at. I'm not at Blake Shelton level, of course, but where I am. But to me, whether a person puts themselves in a position that made them a public figure or someone who's in front of the public, whether they did that or not, nothing justifies us being ugly and hateful.
Exactly.
Right.
And so anyway, we got to chat backstage and kind of catch up and talk a little, and that really, to me, second only to taking the stage and my family was in the room, and second only to that, I think my favorite part of the Grand Ole Opry was just getting to catch up with Blake backstage. Now that stage is iconic, and you do feel like you're just like the tiniest part of history now. It's this grand history, and you're just like the tiniest part of it. But that's enough for me. I hope I get to go back. We're working on that right now. They've talked to us about a couple of things. So hopefully I can.
Awesome.
But we'll see. But I hope I do go back. But if I don't, then I'm certainly not going to begrudge myself, being grateful for the time that I did get to,
Exactly. A lot of people, they see you, but they don't see the team around you. In our opinion, teams never get any love.
They don't.
And I don't care if it's a team of one person or a team of 300 like Justin Bieber has. A team is still a team, and it takes a village. So take a few moments and tell us about the team that helps you be who you are.
Oh, man. Look, number one, with a bullet, my wife and kids. They're not, they eat every day, so I guess they are kind of paid staff in a way, like in a roundabout way. But they are, and look, I'll be honest, it has always served me well to just tell the truth, with stuff like this. It's tough sometimes between me and her. We've had several, and then there are things, a lot of people think that the life that I lived before we made this transition, like we just threw that away and it's gone. No, there are things in my old life that cause conflict between me and her, and you know what I'm saying? And so, but she's really very supportive. Michael Turner, my manager, is very, very helpful to me and really good to me. Every now and then, me and him kind of face off a little bit on ideas and things, but that's fine. I like that. I want somebody to tell me what they think. And at the end of the day, I know people say, well, the buck stops with you. I don't necessarily want that. I hope at the end of the day, we have a beautiful compromise is what I hope for, But Michael's really good to me. Becky Simmons books me a lot. She actually, I do tons, almost I don't know, the majority of what I do, I go to churches and different things, and I love doing that. But I think I'm the only act on her repertoire right now that's not like fully Southern gospel. I don't know that I'm Southern gospel at all. You know what I mean? But Becky helps me a ton. Trevor is a social media guy, helps me a ton. You know, so really, right now, that kind of core group of people is who I work really with. I basically sort of, now not all the time, but as a matter of fact, it's just more common than not, is the best way I know how to say it. I usually just shoot a line to Michael and let him shoot the lines to everybody else. You know, that's part of what we're doing. 1 RPM, you know, they've kind of really been good, because we just switched over to them with Home Wasn't Built in a Day when we released that, and they've, you know, they have representatives and people that are very helpful to us, because, you know, I was doing it myself, like DistroKid, which is fine, but
was that hard letting that go if you've always done it yourself?
Yeah, parts of it, yeah, but not all of it. It really more, I never know. I mean, I'm gonna be real honest with y'all. Like, I literally, I grew up in Mississippi, you know, doing the stuff, camping out by ponds, and, you know, like doing those kinds of things. And I grew up in church, and we grew up in Spirit-filled church. I'm still in Spirit-filled church, where, you know, there's all the wild worship and everybody's having a good time together. And so now in this world, I have a hard time determining sometimes when I should stick to my guns and when I should listen to other people. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to know, you know, because everybody especially in the music industry, but everybody, before they give you their opinion, they all say, be true to who you are. Don't you do anything different. And then they come right in and say, I wouldn't do it like that, you know? And, you know, and so then like, you don't know, like, I never know, like, when
it's like a balance act.
When do I stick to my guns, and when do I say, okay, they're probably right, they know better, more than I do, you know what I mean? That can be tough.
Because you want to make it, but you don't want to lose yourself at the same time. And if being your full self, you never make it, then that doesn't work. So there's got to be like some balance there.
I mean, y'all, really, 2 things when I lay my head on my pillow at night. 2 things really have to have taken place. I have to honor God and myself, and I have to feed these kids. You know, that's what I'm not really worried about, being on billboards or them naming a Six Flags roller coaster after me. I just need to take care of the kids. You know, I want to feed my kids and have a happy, decent life, and not worry if the power bill is going to get paid. And so that's kind of what I'm out here doing, just working.
And, you know, speaking of kids and family and teams, we have a third co-host, our 10-year-old.
We do. His name's Christopher.
We always let him ask a couple questions.
Yep, he's been on almost every show.
So
with
while
us.
Sandy goes and gets,
I have a baby that'll be 10 December. I mean, it's virtually November, but he'll be 10 in December.
He'll be 11 in January.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. We got one just about. It's weird. All of our birthdays, and our whole family, myself and my wife included, are all bunched in to like November through April. But then they stop, and then one of my kids is out in June, and then we don't have no more until November again.
That's like me. My birthday's in August, and Sandy and Lo Christus is 1 day apart in January.
Oh, wow.
And then Caitlin's is in February. So theirs is all right there.
All right. You're like the outlier. Yeah. Yeah, we got 2. Actually, our oldest and youngest have the same birthday.
Oh, wow.
But my oldest lives out on the West Coast. He's out of the house now. But yeah, they got the same birthday. Hey, man.
Hey. Our Thai thoughts of what's favorite food?
My favorite food? Oh my gosh. You know, I'm gonna tell you right now that changes. Okay. But I think right now I am digging. Have you ever had chicken tikka masala at an Indian restaurant? I'm loving it. I've always liked it, but I'm on a kick. So right now that takes the cake. Well, also cake. I love cake.
Because what's yours?
Mine's pizza.
Pizza? Oh, that makes sense. Look, here's my thing, man. I am genetically obese, and that's the truth. So I don't get to eat a ton of pizza. I love it. I love it, but I don't get to eat a lot of it.
All right, what's your TV show?
Oh man, you getting the hard ones because I like a lot of TV shows. That's tough. I love Seinfeld. That's always been a huge favorite of mine. The Office has always been a huge favorite of mine. Man, so I don't know. And like if you go unscripted, I'm all about Dateline and true crime shows, and of course I have to shout out The Voice, you know. But like I would say probably of all time, probably Office or Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah. What's yours?
Mine's SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, yeah. You know what, man? I'm telling you, it's after 1:00 now. So at where I live and where you live too, it won't surprise me if SpongeBob is on the TV right here at this house right downstairs right now.
Okay, what's your movie?
Oh, my favorite movie is more than one movie, which would, if I have to pick one, it's the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the original trilogy. Though I didn't love The Hobbit. I don't know why they did some of the things they did. And the thing they got on Amazon right now, I guess it's all right. I haven't really fully made my mind, but the original trilogy.
What's yours?
Mine's Minions.
Minions, yeah. Didn't they just come out with a fairly
new one? In fact, we were in Nashville when it was at the theaters, and we actually went to see it at the theater in Nashville.
Yeah, awesome. This time of year, Minions is a really popular costume too. I see it all over.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, he's been on almost every episode since we started.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool, man.
You know, I figured, when we first launched, I was like, you know what, I want to kind of pull the family in. I was like, you know what, we'll create and at that time he did, because it was, almost 3 years ago, he did one question. So we built him up to 3.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. That's awesome. And before you know it, he'll just take over.
Exactly. So if you could co-write with any artist, who would it be?
Oh, man, that's tough. It's weird because, and I'm certainly not alone in this, but like my music taste is so various and broad, that is really tough. I will say, I would love, just because of how I grew up, and I would love to write, with like Garth Brooks, I loved all of Garth's stuff growing up, man. But then on the other hand, these people, I don't know who wrote their songs. Maybe they did and maybe they didn't. But like, if I could go back in time and write with like Mahalia Jackson or somebody, I love that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So that's just tough, because my thing is like, I do have a deep personal connection with hymns and worship music and those things, and
that makes
but I also like really love, I mean, in honesty, I would not say I really love current country music, but I really do love country music, like 80s and 90s country that I grew up on.
You can't beat 90s country.
Oh yeah,
no, you cannot. I'm telling you, man. A cool thing that I will say about 90s country music is, because I did it on the show, and one thing leads to another, and one domino knocks another domino down. I'm not certain of the release date, but I did cut "Love Me" with Colin Ray. We went into the studio together and did it, and so
we've had him on the show in the past.
Oh yes, we have had him on the show. Great,
he was like he was like the balladeer to end all balladeers, back in the 90s, and so I love that. But I also love those 80s hair bands. I love that stuff, But my wife makes fun of me because I'll listen to just ambient music, and I love that. Love like John Denver.
Sure.
I mean, soul music. I sing "Ain't No Sunshine" all the time when I'm out. So it's hard. I don't know. It's so hard to pick. I love like old rock and roll. I love. And when I say old, I mean, I like the older stuff, old stuff, but I like nowadays, like Bob Seger is old rock and roll, I love like Bob Seger, and I love Joe Cocker, and so it's so hard. It's,
another tough question is, if you could bring back any artists who passed on to spend a day with you and write, who would it be?
Oh man, if I could bring back anyone, oh man, that's tough to spend a day and write. I would say, for reasons that probably are not the most common, more because of our backgrounds.
Yeah,
Maybe Elvis. Maybe
wow.
Elvis
Oh,
Presley.
Elvis
That would be a good
great
one.
one. Yeah.
Because, and I mean, Elvis was great. I mean, he was Elvis. He's like larger than life.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't even be that as much as like his background, where he came from and how he came up. And, I would love to do that.
So what's a song you've heard you wish you wrote?
Oh, bro, it depends. Like if you
Depends on your
listen
mood,
to,
right?
yeah, like I wish I would have written "Calling Out Your Name" by Rich Mullins. That is just a brilliant song, and I love that. And then I wish I would have written like "A Rock" by Hardy. It's just a brilliantly written song, So, oh man, gosh, man, that's wild for you to say that. I wish I would have written "Goodness of God." That I guess originally Bethel put it out, but now lots of people do it. I wish I would have written that. It's just because that to me, I'll be honest. I don't know how to put this. Like for the circumstances that I sing that song in, and what is in my spirit and my heart while I'm singing it, that is one of the most perfectly written songs, because it just reminds you of how good God's always been to you. And
how do you feel God has guided you through this whole process?
Oh, mostly I feel like I mean, my wife is like, let me just say, we always joke and say these same things. She is like super spiritual. Like if we come against a mountain, she's going to speak to the mountain. I'm going to go get a shovel. That's literally kind of how our life works. So I think I mean, don't get me wrong. I pray and I try to be, I don't know, sensitive to what it is that maybe he wants me to do. But I'm honestly more of like, God has connected me with relationships, with people, and frankly in this business, but going back several years in my life, because when you're in something you don't know, a lot of times because it's too close to your face and you can't see the whole thing. But not just now in that. I mean, I don't live in Nashville, but I live close. But not just now in Nashville, but also my whole life. God has connected with me with people. I feel like, but I think He's also kind of allowed ties to be severed with people. Not that He's anti-relationship, but I just think some of us are just maybe not the best people to be in each other's lives or something. That I mean, really, some of the. And I'm speaking this from experience, but I'm also speaking it in a little bit of faith too, to tell you the truth. Some of the no's I feel like are God helping me, because I'm telling you, man, I've had more no's since May of 2020 than I had in my whole life before. But I've also taken way more chances and way more risks and gone after way more.
I mean, I get exactly where you're coming from, because when we first launched the show, we weren't really getting a whole lot of no's, but when we stepped it up to go after the bigger guests, now I get about 100 no's a month.
Yeah. I mean, I still now get all kinds of people, and you know how it is. Again, I'm not complaining. I'm just being real honest about it. Like 8 out of 10, not all of them, but 8 out of 10 people you talk to in Nashville are like, oh yeah, this is it. This is what we're going to do. We're going to this and we're going to that. We're going to do the other thing. And this is the song we're going to start with. And the next week they're like, never mind. Or they acted like they didn't ever say it at all. They ghost you completely.
Wow.
And so it can be tough, but I also do feel like that's I feel like that's God guiding me. Cause my thing is like, I got a lot of problems. I make a whole lot of mistakes. I do things and have attitudes that aren't necessarily a mistake. They're just bad behavior, and God's working on me on all that. But I do love Him, and and I do try my best to do the things that I feel like he wants me to do and he would have me do. Starting with just treating people right and apologizing if you didn't, you know. And so I just pray that he's kind of guiding me. I realize I'm not going to be just like a leaf on the stream, just floating and bouncing around. I have to make deliberate choices and decisions. And so I just pray that he's kind of in me, you know, and around me when I do that, because you never know. I mean, you just do the best you can with what you got, and sometimes it flies and sometimes it crashes.
Where do you want to be in 5 years?
In 5 years, I would love, honestly, I would love to have a set touring schedule. And this is when I tour and this is when I don't tour. But as far as my life, my private and personal life, as long as we're comfortable and happy, I could be right here. That's not, you know, I'm ambitious about making a life for my family. Yeah, that's what I'm ambitious about. They look to me. As a matter of fact, they look to me solely. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, you know. They look to me to take care of them. And so in 5 years, I would love to have more of a set, because right now it can be iffy. Like you'll see something on social media like, wow, he's busy. And I am for that month. And then the next time I'm like, oh, you know, and a lot of people don't understand too. Like when you go out,
it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, and venues and buyers will look at the price and then, or even people will hear and say, "This is how much it costs." But man, I'm paying 10 people out of that. You know, you know what I mean? It ain't just me.
You know, like I seen a meme the other day that had two parts to it. It was one person where the bar owner is saying, you know, we would love to have you on at the bar, but we can't pay. It'd be great exposure. And then the comeback from the musician was, oh, you know, I'm inviting some friends over this weekend. We would love to have your catering services to come over, but we can't pay you. It'd be great exposure.
It'd be great exposure, right? Yeah. Well, it's kind of like venues, because I saw someone had this conversation, and one of my good friends who I co-write with actually a lot came back with the best response that I've ever seen on this, that I never thought about when you go to venues and they say you can do a product or a merch table, but they take a percentage. He said, well, that's fine, but if you run a concession stand, I get a percentage of that, you know? And I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense though, because the concession wouldn't be open if the artist wasn't there, you know?
That's so true.
So if you're taking a percentage of mine, you know, then I get. So, but yeah, I mean, it's, you know, man, like in 5 years, I hope I have a little bit more of best way I know how to tell you, in 5 years, I mean, of course, by then I'll be almost 50, but like in 5 years, I hope I have a better answer for what the next 5 years is going to look like, you know, or at least.
Speaking of that, let's look 15, 20 years down the road. And let's say you are a success on a grand scale, whatever that looks like for you, you're there. What do you hope you never forget along that journey?
Oh man, I hope I never forget the things that matter the most to me, like how good God's been to me. And I hope I never forget my family. And I hope I never forget. And I'm very deliberate about it now, even though I'm sure I'm not perfect at it. I hope I never forget the handful of people, even back home, you know, that really stick by me and show up and do all the things, you know. I hope I never forget that. I hope I never, ever get to a place. Now, right now, sometimes I just can't do things for whatever reason. I'm already booked, or I don't have these huge reserves that I can use to go, you know, to just like when people want you to come for this, and I would love to be at it, but it's a free thing, and I don't have the income to go and spend my own money to be there, you know? Right. So I hope that I don't forget that. Ultimately, I hope there is never a separation between me and the adoption community. You know, we have 2 adopted girls, and I'm doing a thing this weekend in Indiana that's an adoption thing, and I did the Christian Alliance for Orphans just a couple of weeks back, and I've done so many things. I hope I never see a diminishing in my relationship with that community. Mainly though, like I said in the very beginning, I just hope I never ever forget how good God is and where he brought me from, and that all really any good thing we have is because of him. And so I hope I don't forget that.
Amen.
Yes. And what are some things that inspire you?
Oh, light. I'm telling y'all, that's why my bio says slice of life.
Yeah.
Because life inspires me. The passing of time inspires me. I might have posted it on my social media, maybe, but it's not out there in the world. It probably won't ever be, but who knows? But like, my family was in Mississippi one night, and I was here by myself, and I was across the hall over here in my bed. And I woke up. It was wee hours, like 3:30 in the morning, and I could hear the light switch thing on the ceiling fan clicking against the light. The little globe around the light. The ceiling fan's turning and it's clicking.
Yeah.
And I got up and I wrote a whole song called Quiet House about in the song in the beginning, the guy's a bachelor and the house is quiet.
Yeah.
And in the second verse, they're married with kids and the kids have gone to bed, and so the house is quiet.
Right.
In the third verse, the kids have moved out.
Oh,
and so it's just him and her again, and it's quiet. And then in the very end of the song, she passes away and goes on, and it's just him again, and it's just quiet, And that's why I cut Slow Down, even though I didn't write it. That's why I co-wrote and cut Home Wasn't Built in a Day. Life and family and the people that you love, and a keen awareness that this is all passing us by. My oldest son, I'll see him at Christmas. It'll be the first time I've seen him in months, and I mean in person. And you don't. I tell everybody all the time, if you were to come to me and you say, Todd, you can go to bed tonight and wake up tomorrow, and it'd be like April the 12th, 1984. I would do it in a heartbeat. Just because all that's gone now. My grandmother's passed away, and so friends and family members, they're all gone.
Our last two parents this year passed away.
They did. The last grandparents of our kids.
And so and so that inspires me. And again, I mean, I don't mean to harp, and I'm not like a thumper. I just tell the truth. What God's done in my life has always been very inspiring to me, because I've seen, our whole life is just like a series of miracles, sort of. Now they're
he
sort
healed
of
me from
together.
19 years of addictions, almost 15 years ago.
Yeah. So it's a testimony, And so, like I always say, all these miracles, now they are sort of sewn together with really crappy times. But it's just like a series of miracle after miracle that I've seen, and so that inspires me too. Like people loving each other and treating each other right, and it's weird. I wish I was, and this I don't want to come across like I'm just so noble or anything. I kind of wish I was inspired by money. I might have more of it now. But right now, when you're someone like me, it's harder. I mean, it's harder to sell an inspiring, positive kind of thing sometimes. And But I'm not doing it like this is my thing. Like my brand is just because this is who I am. Like none of it's deliberate,
Right.
And so all those things inspire me. I know my kids are growing up. I know that it's. I got one that does music himself. He's actually released several. He released a song last week, but he's released a couple of albums, and he's really very good. And he's fixing to be 19 years old, so it's the time's coming for him, and. Then it'll be Shepherd, and then it'll be Judah, and then Olive. And I don't know, maybe they won't go in order. Brooke was the youngest, but she moved out before her sister, so who knows? But there's, I mean, y'all, I don't mean to be all sentimental, but there'll come a time where they climb down out of your lap, and that's the last time. They never get back in your lap again, and that was the last time, and you didn't know it at that moment. You never knew, but that's the last time.
Oh, wow.
And so that kind of stuff inspires me.
Love it. And what would you like for your legacy to be in music? What would you like to be most known and remembered for?
If my legacy, I want to say, I'll preface this by saying I've not always done the best job, but I just hope my legacy is love. That's what I hope. I always just, when I meet people, I want to treat them right and let them know that. I mean, now when I do shows, I just tell them right from the stage, wherever I am, whatever the venue is. But the people that you meet in the studio and at Rights and, you know, different things that you're part of, I just hope they walk away with a sense about me that I do care about them. You know, sometimes you have to make decisions. You know, there's people that I've worked with before that I hopefully will work with again, but I can't work with right now because you have to make decisions financially and different things.
Right.
And so it bothers me so bad. I lay awake at night, man. Like, I hope that guy don't think I just, you know, flaked on him. I just can't keep doing that. It costs too much right now. Hopefully one day we can do something else again.
Yeah.
You know, but I hope my legacy is love. That's what I hope.
Love that.
Oh, great answer. And if you could say anything to your fans and followers, what would you want to tell them?
Oh man, thank you. Golly, I love y'all so much, and thank you for everything that y'all are to me. And because I'm telling you, y'all, as an independent artist, which we make up the vast majority of artistry in the music world, independent artists. Y'all, the fans and the followers, I hate saying fans. It feels bad coming out of my mouth. But like the fans and friends and all that, followers, whatever, y'all are literally the light. Y'all are making this happen, you know, because there's not a big, there's not a big machine back there pushing it. You know, it's just the people. And so, man, anytime I get an opportunity to tell them that I love them, I will, and that I appreciate everything they do. And watching me ramble on live on Facebook or wherever I am and streaming my stuff. And man, there's people, I got fans that are older, and they're just, I'm literally giving them tutorials because they want to stream my music and they don't know how to stream, you know?
Yeah.
And it's sad because that's the way that, and, you know, I tell them all the time, y'all, whether we like it or not, the turn has already been made, and that's the direction.
Yeah, there's no going back.
Yeah. So we just might as well adjust. And so I just would tell them thank you so much, and I just love y'all so much.
So as we close out here, what advice would you give that person that wants to do what you do?
I've actually done this before a couple times. I got hired actually to go and do a Q&A, and that was one of the questions. But the advice at the level that I'm at right now, which is not just, just insane success or anything, but I wouldn't say I'm unsuccessful either. But the advice that I would give them, if you're wanting to do what I do or enter into this world at all, is pray and find a way to maintain authenticity, but also learn how to play ball. And that's a tightrope to walk, but you have to do it. You got to maintain your authenticity, but you got to play ball. You can't just be this island that you're doing everything my way, no matter what. That works for 1 in 10 million. And maybe you're that one, but it is very rare.
Really great advice. Love that. So tell everybody how they can find you.
All right. Yeah. Y'all can go to toddtofficial.com, which is my website. And that's for two different reasons. Number one is there's a Todd Tilghman with the weird spelling and everything, who's a realtor in Colorado. So he's got toddtilghman.com. But on the other hand, my last name spelled so weird. We thought it'd probably be better anyway. Just Todd T Official. We tried to go Todd T, but that wasn't available either. So toddtofficial.com is my website. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on TikTok, of all places. Just search my name. I'm on Spotify. I'm on all the music. I'm on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, Deezer, all of them. I'm on all of them. So all you got to do is search my name or go to my website and click the links there, and you can find everything there, So I'm all over.
Yeah.
Love that. We really enjoyed having you on today.
We did.
Definitely look forward to having you back down the road.
Yes, sir. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for inviting me.
We appreciate your time today. Have a good one. Bye.
You too.